Hey, what's up, Street Talks? Eric from the Eric from Street Photography blog. So, one thing I wanted to talk to you about is this notion of true preferences versus false preferences. So, the basic idea is this. In life, there's no such thing as a good preference or a bad preference. It's all just true or false. And essentially, the problem of a lot of modern society is that you're kind of getting suckered into getting false preferences, things that you think that you want, things that you think will make you happy, but in fact they don't. So for example, a lot of us think that, oh, once you have a super fancy sports car, I'll be happy, or once I have a bunch of money in the bank, or once I could travel the world, etc., then I'll be quote quote happy. And the problem about this is that in life, there's ultimately no right or wrong preferences in terms of, what you want out of your life. And I think it's essential for us as individuals and also fellow knowledge seekers and individuals to really think to ourselves and to be really genuine. Like, what do we really want in life? And what are the trade-offs we're willing to take to achieve these goals? And so for example, I think a lot of people think that they want to become entrepreneurs and become self-employed, but perhaps that is a false preference because they listen to a lot of podcasts and the idea of being an entrepreneur is so romanticized that they think that they want to become an entrepreneur, but in fact they don't. And it's fine. Like if you don't want to become an entrepreneur, like that's totally fine. Like no one's putting a gun to your head saying that like, oh, the only form of legitimate success in life is to become an entrepreneur. No, like you could be a school teacher, you could be a firefighter, whatever you do. You could be a barista, you could be an Uber driver. And so this notion of success is a little bit silly. And it's really essential for you to know what your true preferences are, because this will allow you to maximize your personal impact in life and maximize your energy, and to essentially not also feel resentment or depression in life. Because if you're pursuing what you really want in life and it is your true preference, it doesn't really matter how hard or difficult or challenging the work is, you're going to enjoy it. So for example, ever since I was young, I knew that I liked lifting weights. It's something that's always been fun to me, and it was always just so annoying because I had to follow these stupid workout plans and follow these mindless repetitions. And then I discovered deadlifting and this notion of powerlifting, and to me it was so fun. And it's really weird because a lot of people are like, oh, I hate going to the gym or I hate working out. I'm like, okay, that's totally fine and totally legitimate, but for me it's fun. And it's funny, even when I meet people at the gym, they're like, oh, why do you lift? And I say, oh, because it's fun. They're like, oh, what program are you on? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just try to push my limits. I just try to add a little bit more weight every single time I work out. And it's really nice because a life where we're pursuing our true preferences, I think is the best life, in the sense that it doesn't mean you have an easy life. It doesn't mean that you're just on the couch all day and just rolling around in gold bars and driving around a pink Lamborghini. But it's really that you're not feeling any sort of resentment towards others, no resentment towards being alive, and no sour nihilist attitudes towards living. And it's really it gives you a lot more joy in life, and these joys could be simple, and even examples of revealed preferences. I think actually my revealed preferences is I generally tend to prefer simpler restaurants, in the sense that I like to go to fancy restaurants too, but then sometimes it's so annoying because it takes so long, and then no matter how good the meal is, whenever it's expensive, you always feel like you somehow got suckered. And so let's say I spent $100 a person on a meal. It doesn't matter if this was the best meal I had in my life. I would still feel kind of stupid. I'm like, man, I wish I didn't spend so much money. Whereas if I got a $5 In-N-Out burger, I'm like, oh, I'm so happy, because my genuine preference is that, my true preference is that I get more joy from getting a deal, or even spending $12 having Korean all-you-can-eat barbecue in Little Saigon. To me, this is my revealed preference. And yeah, so even thinking about like, photography, cameras, equipment, and stuff like that is, some people think that their true preference is to own an iPhone, to own a Leica camera, to drive a Lamborghini, whatever it may be. But who knows? Maybe the best way to discover what your true or revealed preferences are is just try it out for yourself. I mean, we're lucky enough that in today's world, there's enough of this, like, you could try it before you buy it, or you could buy it and then just return it if you don't like it. And so I think this is kind of the ultimate way to gauge what our true preferences are. So even an example, like if you think that you want to become an entrepreneur and become self-employed, I would say just give it your all. Just attempt to work as hard as you can to become self-employed. And then once you are self-employed and you're an entrepreneur, let's say you're just making a living from what you like doing, then just ask yourself and be really genuine. It's like, do I like being self-employed, or do I prefer having a steady paycheck? And once again, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Is that you just have to discover the truth for yourself. So once again, the easiest way to discover what your true preferences are is, distancing yourself from other people, from social media, marketing, and spending more time to read literature from the past. Generally, I think that if it's over 100 years old, it's probably good to read, and generally the older it is, the better it is. This the notion of the Lindy effect from Nassim Taleb. Generally what has been around and lasted for a long time has been around for a while because it's probably stronger, superior, or better. Not always, but this is what makes philosophy and entrepreneurship and life so interesting, is that you're constantly challenging yourself, you're constantly gauging your preferences. So seek to discover your true preferences and seek to live the best life possible. Peace out.